What's going on, gang? We're back at it. My name's CJ, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Dallas Cowboys Thursday night football matchup. It's the first game of the new NFL season. I'm super stoked to be able to talk some NFL football with you guys. Now, before we go any further, I need you to do three things. The first thing, make sure you're subscribed. Go down there and ring that bell, turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my future content, and drop a like on this video. I'm setting a line of 20 likes for this video. I think we can go over 20 likes, and I know we can because we've absolutely crushed those likes in the past. Now, if you don't play on PrizePicks, it's a fantastic time to do so because they're offering a 100% instant deposit match of up to $100. So if you put in $50, they're going to double your money, giving you $100 to get going. If you put in $100 and take full advantage of the offer, they're going to double that up, giving you $200 to get you started for this NFL season. Now, on top of that, I'm also going to do something special for you guys. If you deposit for the first time on PrizePicks using promo code Curry and you go and sign up to Patreon. Patreon is a way for you to support me as a content creator. I give back to you guys by putting together helpful spreadsheets, saving you time and research. You go sign up on PrizePicks, use promo code Curry, you sign up on Patreon. I'll make sure that you get your first month of Patreon reimbursed to you totally free, just so you can come into the community, kind of see what we're all about. If you don't like it, you don't have to renew for the second month, but you have nothing to lose here. It's just a way to introduce you to the Discord. We've got 700, almost 800 people in Discord, and you can get in there and kind of check things out and see if you like being a part of a PrizePicks focused community with like-minded individuals, sports fans who are in there just having a good time talking sports all day long. Anyway, that's my special offer to you. Let's go ahead and move into the injury reports for both of these teams. We've got the Dallas Cowboys here. Not real big injuries. The biggest ones are going to be across their offensive line. They're going to be without Brandon Knight, their offensive tackle, and their guard, Zach Martin, will both be out because they're both on the COVID-19 list. So those are two pretty impactful injuries there. Now, for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side of things, we got Antonio Brown, who was a DNP, did not practice at Tuesday's practice. We got to see how the practice reports look for today, Wednesday, and see if Antonio Brown was out there or not. But they considered this to be a maintenance day for Antonio Brown, so I expect him to play. Don't expect him to miss this Thursday night game. The one that's more concerning is probably Chris Godwin, who is dealing with a quadriceps issue, so something's going on with that leg. He did not practice at all on Tuesday. Let's see if he practices on Wednesday. This is definitely impactful news to monitor as we get closer to Thursday night. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk PrizePicks. So we've got a number of different ways to play here on PrizePicks: rushing yards, passing yards, receiving yards, receptions, passing completions, and receiving touchdowns. So we're going to start things off by looking at the rushing yards here. We've got the Dallas Cowboys represented by Dak Prescott at 11.5 rushing yards, Ezekiel Elliott 54.5 rushing yards, and Tony Pollard at 17.5 rushing yards. He was just added to the board like a few minutes ago, so this one's fresh on the board. Now, Ezekiel Elliott, earlier on in the week, he was at like 70-something rushing yards. I think with the news of Zach Martin being out and the fact that he's going against what was the #1 rush defense last year in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this number has deflated quite a bit. Now, the way that I see this game playing out is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should put up plenty of points, especially through the air against this Dallas Cowboys defense. Cowboys were one of the worst teams against the pass last year, and I could kind of see Dallas falling behind pretty quickly here to this Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. I just don't think that Dallas is going to have what it takes to slow down Tom Brady and company. Too many weapons, and the Buccaneers defense is just too darn good. So I could see Ezekiel Elliott being stifled quite a bit, and the Cowboys turning to more of a pass-first approach, especially when you get over to like the second half of the game. So I'm probably not going to touch this Ezekiel Elliott rushing yards prop. Out of the three Cowboys rushing yards prop, maybe Dak Prescott makes the most sense here. If he is forced to drop back more than he'd like to because they are trailing for most of this game, I could see some scenarios where maybe Prescott is forced up into the pocket and breaks loose for a couple of rushing attempts here. So I wouldn't mind taking the over on Dak Prescott. But Zeke's going to be a fade for me. Tony Pollard, he's a backup running back. if we're not liking Ezekiel Elliott against this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, then I don't know if we're liking Tony Pollard all that much either. But let's move on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side of things. We got Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette for the Buccaneers. Ronald Jones at 47.5 rushing yards. The Bucs are typically more of a pass-first team. So Rojo and Uncle Lenny here, I don't know if I'm interested in playing either one of them. Do the Buccaneers build a lead and start turning to more of a run-heavy approach? That's not really their style. I mean, I guess they could, but let's take a look at NFL Savant real quick, and you could kind of get an idea at how the rushing attempts were broken up last season. This is a totally free site, by the way. Ronald Jones at 192 rushing attempts versus Leonard Fournette, who was at 96. Pretty big difference here. You can see that Rojo, 57% of the rushes went his way. For Fournette, just 28% went to him. So Rojo is definitely the 1A in this offense, to Leonard Fournette being the 1B in terms of running backs here. Of course, they did add Giovanni Bernard, but he's been a little bit banged up to start the preseason. So I don't think that he plays a big factor in this one. It's really going to be Rojo and Uncle Lenny. But if I'm taking the over on either one of these guys, it's probably going to be Ronald Jones, as I expect him to dominate the backfield touches. All right, let's move over to passing yards, where we have obviously Dak Prescott and Tom Brady. Tom Brady's probably going to be one that I fade here. I'm not looking to go over or under. It's probably just going to be one that I'm not going to touch. Like, could he go for 300 plus yards? He absolutely could, especially against this Dallas Cowboys secondary, who hasn't gotten much better over the offseason. They added a couple of key pieces, but I don't think it's going to be enough to really slow Tom Brady and company down. But 295.5, it's just not a number that I'm really into. Now, Dak Prescott, the way that I see this game playing out here, I could see him going for 286 or more passing yards in this case, especially if they fall behind to the Tampa Bay Bucs and have to abandon the run. You're going to see Prescott dropping back a lot, and I'm talking like maybe 30 plus, passing attempts. So I kind of like the over here on Dak Prescott at 285.5. Let's go over to the receiving yards and take a look at those. For the Cowboys side of things, we've got Ezekiel Elliott at 20.5, Amari Cooper at 65.5, CeeDee Lamb 59.5, and Michael Gallup at 46.5. And then you got the two Cowboys tight ends, Blake Jarwin returning to Dallas after missing most of the season with an injury, and we've got Dalton Schultz out there at 18.5. Now, out of the Dallas Cowboys side of things, again, I think this is going to be a game where Cowboys have to lean on a pass-heavy attack. That's the way that you can score points on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not really on the ground, but more so through the air. So I could see some check downs to Ezekiel Elliott. Does he get over 20.5 yards? I don't know. That's probably going to be one that I'm going to fade. But the guy who led the Dallas Cowboys in targets last year, according to NFL Savant, is Amari Cooper. And he did so by quite a big margin. You could see that he had 130 targets last year versus CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup, who came in second with 112. Now, this sample size is kind of skewed a little bit because obviously Dak Prescott only played 4 games for the Dallas Cowboys, and then he went out in the 5th game with an injury, I believe. And so different guys under center could lead to different results here with Dak being back. But as far as who's leading this team in reception, or in targets rather, it's going to be Amari Cooper. So if I'm going over on any of these Dallas Cowboys guys, it would probably be Amari Cooper. I would feel most comfortable, followed by CeeDee Lamb. Don't know that I'm really into Michael Gallup here, going over on him. Although Mike McCarthy, the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, has said that he views his top 3 receivers as interchangeable. So could be one of those ones where any given week a new guy steps up. But we got to kind of lean on last year's numbers and know that Cooper, and then probably Lamb, and then probably Gallup. That's probably the pecking order. Now, we did mention Blake Jarwin missed most of the year with an injury. So that forced Dalton Schultz to be more of a pass-catching option, and he did a pretty darn good job filling in for Blake Jarwin, but I expect him to regress this season, and Blake Jarwin to regain that number 1 tight end, pass-catching tight end option. So maybe Blake Jarwin is a place to go here, but I'm looking mostly at Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb if I'm taking any overs in this one. So I like the over for Dak Prescott's passing yards, and I like the over for probably the top 2 targets for Dallas. Now on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side of things, Ronald Jones, this 5.5 number it's tricky. It sounds easy, like one little dump play, he could take it for, to the house, really. I mean, he has that type of ability, but I don't know that the Buccaneers check down to their running backs a whole lot. Maybe he gets an extra look, with Gio Bernard possibly out for this game, but I'm more interested in the other key cogs here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Mike Evans at 60.5, Chris Godwin at 60.5, and you've got Antonio Brown at 58.5. So let's take a look at NFL Savant and see how these targets broke down for last season. Mike Evans dominated 118 targets for him, 88 for Godwin, 83 for Gronk, and then it falls off a cliff for everybody else. Antonio Brown. Now, of course, O.J. Howard missed a large portion of last season, so that's going to be something to consider. If Chris Godwin is out due to that quad injury, that's going to be a major factor as well. You'll see more targets go to the likes of Evans and Brown and Gronk and O.J. Howard and probably some of the backup wide receivers in this case. Brady does a pretty good job of spreading the ball around. But anyway, if I'm going to take the overs on anybody, it's probably going to be Mike Evans. If Chris Godwin plays, it would probably be over on Chris Godwin. I don't like the over on Gronk so much. If anything, I'd go under here. He's more of a short yardage, red zone type of guy, not really a big yardage guy. Maybe O.J. Howard, that might be one that you might want to take the over on his yards. Or Cam Brate, he's the third tight end on the team, but hey, he does get involved here, and Brady has hit him quite a bit in the past. So let's move over to receptions. You can see a lot of these receptions props have been rounded off. So the hook, the 0.5 here on Antonio Brown has been rounded up or rounded down in a lot of cases. O.J. Howard is the only other one that has the hook intact. So in terms of receptions, I think we have to, again, lean on last year's target breakdown. So again, Mari Cooper led the Dallas Cowboys in targets. He'd be one that I would look to go over on. CeeDee Lamb, who's also at 5 receptions, I would be looking to go over on him as well. For the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side of things, obviously Mike Evans at 4. This one looks extra juicy to me. He dominated the targets for the Buccaneers, especially if Chris Godwin doesn't play. If he's out, then I really like the over on Mike Evans in these 4 receptions. Gronk, not really looking to go over on him. That's just one where, I could see it maybe being like a push type of situation. Maybe you go under on Dalton Schultz here. Does he catch 2 balls? I don't know. That seems like an under to me. And again, if Godwin's out, I could see Antonio Brown going for 5 receptions easily here. Now, Ezekiel Elliott, if this turns into a pass-heavy type of attack for Dallas, especially in the second half, I could see him possibly pulling in 3 or more. So you might end up in a push situation with a lot of these props being rounded the way that they are. So let's move over to passing completions real quick. We've got Dak Prescott at 25.5, Tom Brady at 24.5. Out of these two, I'm probably liking the Dak Prescott one a little bit more. I'm big on Dallas having to turn to a pass-heavy attack, so I'm liking the over on his yards. I'm liking the over on his passing completions. I'm even liking the over on his rushing yards, as I just think he's going to have to drop back a whole lot more than we might expect. So kind of liking the over on the Dak Prescott passing completions. And let's round it out here with the receiving touchdowns. We're going to go back to NFL Savant. Mike Evans is the only one up on the board for receiving touchdowns at the moment, but I want to show you something that caught my eye, and that is the Tampa Bay total red zone targets. You can see the breakdown here, dominated by Mike Evans with 21 red zone targets. Gronkowski tied with 21 red zone targets, but then it drops way off for everybody else. So Mike Evans with 21 red zone targets, there's a pretty good chance that if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers get down there in the red zone, which I expect them to do with great regularity tomorrow night, I could see Mike Evans pulling in one passing touchdown, one receiving touchdown, I should say. So I really like the over on this one here, but that's going to do it for today's video. I tried to make it as short and sweet as possible. Hopefully, some of the props that we talked about and some of the game script ideas made some sense to you and help you with your entries. If it did, hit the thumbs up on this. Again, we're going for more than 20 likes. I'm taking the over. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. And that PrizePicks offer stands, guys. You go and deposit the first time using promo code Curry. They're going to double your money. Plus, you sign up for Patreon. I'm going to give you your first month of Patreon for free. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.